Hi, welcome back to the Dylan Rounds case. Welcome if you're currently here in the live premiere, appreciate it. Today, for the first part of this video, we have a focused look into the Dylan Rounds case as we continue on. And I want to look back at a very, very important event which tied to potential lost evidence. And who knows what it could be. I'm talking about June 2nd spring cleaning and the days before it happened, the possibilities of who was present at the shed at that time. Taking a look back at photos of the grain shed, I know Graham will be happy, and looking through to see possible hiding spots, possible areas where those items of interest were at before bagged away and taken by Brenner, right? It has faded away with time. The search and focus for Dylan Rounds continues, but what if, besides the remains, there is possible additional evidence out there which could strengthen the case and maybe could be remains of Dylan Rounds? You never know. And if not that, it could even lead on to a new direction, location, or person involved, right? Very important potential evidence which has just faded away. And what I want this video to do is help spread awareness of past events and maybe see if we can spark a catalyst in maybe down the line there's bin bags being found or someone coming on in with the right information or the resources and making their presence known. You know, that's what I want this video to do. So feel free to like the video, although it's very early on and, you know, first impressions might be limited. It would be appreciated because just for the simple fact of spreading awareness of this event in the Dylan Rounds case, it's faded. We need to talk about it again. We need to get the discussions going. So throughout this video, make sure and feel free to chat in the live box, share your thoughts, opinions, comments, questions, whatever, anything, everything. And what I do ask, just for the first part of this video, whilst we're talking about Dylan Rounds, is to maintain a level of focus, okay? Because this is very important and we need to like really lock on into it. So we are going to be using the maps today as well. We're going to be marking out possible locations, trying to narrow it down and try and make sense of where those items, those bags can be, and from what Candice Cooley has previously said too, in terms of Brenner and Don Hatley, okay? Another time we can do the fishing trip, but I just wanted to be more locked on with this because we did talk about it last night in last night's video. Now, if you don't know what happened in last night's video, make sure to check it out. In fact, I actually uploaded 2 videos yesterday, one on the Idaho 4 case with Brian Koberger, and then the other one to do with Dylan Rounds. I'll provide the links down below in the comment section, pinned. Make sure to click on them and catch up after watching this, okay? So yeah, we got that. As well, later on in this video, when we branch on over, we do have the return of an important individual. Someone has returned back onto my channel. We have one of the most exclusive hands-on interview to date. More hands-on than ever. Wow. Make sure to stick around for that, okay? Even Dale, you'll definitely want to watch this, okay? Believe that. As well, what we also need to look at is Mr. Oh, what's his name? Mr. Z, Mr. Y, Mr. T, Mr. Impetuous, Mr. XYZ chromosomes. I don't know, but someone's making an appearance tonight. A new hat try-on haul spree. Sure, Watch Her Crazy couldn't make it because she was glued to the toilet, which delayed the whole kitty cat group from going out to the mall. But it looks like someone in the background was able to get there anyway and buy some new hats. So we'll be looking at that later, okay? So there is a range of stuff today. Sure, immediately we've got the focus. We're locked on to Dylan Rounds to spread awareness of that case and to make sense of things that have faded away and bring them back into light. And then we do have a bit more of a light-hearted side later on. So be sure to stick around from start to finish to just understand the structure and what it's all about tonight, okay? So I think what we'll do very briefly is just check back on the comments of the last video to catch up with the conversations of Dylan Round's case. Not too many comments, read through them, and then once we're there, then we can move on to the spring cleaning and the events, or the supposed events following up to it, okay? So, just adjust it, arrange it, and work our way up. Indiana this time commenting first, saying, it will be interesting to see which of the characters around Dylan and Brenner are brought into court as witnesses to the case, because without some of them, it could be a story half untold. You never know. See, this is the thing. Very interested. The possibilities, possible shocks, surprises. We can even do a poll in a second. The only issue is the time factor. When? Okay, we've got the 31st of July in the diary, but that's not to do directly with the Dylan Rounds case, locking on with that. It's still to do the attorney situation and all of that, the bits and bobs, before you even get to the main focus of the case. So I don't know how long it will take. If any of you know, or feel free to make your guesses and predictions down below in the chat when you think the actual court case about Dylan and the witnesses coming on in, if that does happen, when do you think when do you think the date will be? But the poll to kick this video off can be, who do you think will appear as a witness in the Dylan Rounds case? Who do you think will come in to court and give their side of the story? And the voting options can be Don Hatley, Kurt Wadsworth, maybe, who else? Chase Venstra, if that was possible. I really don't think it is, but if it was, would you choose him? And I think the other option can be somebody else. If you do vote that one, be sure to explain in the chat who you think it is, okay? I mean, we did briefly touch upon it in the past, the possibilities of Don Hatley appearing as a witness. As we saw that text conversation not that long ago between Justin and Candice Cooley. Candice Cooley was referring to Don Hatley as a potential witness and calling Justin out for Justin calling Don Hatley out as potentially ruining it for a second time if he is a witness, scaring him off, maybe putting him off from appearing in court and either testifying or paying some witness or alibi, whatever it may be, right? So you could say that from now till whenever the actual court case, there could be a level of silence in between. You might still always have this odd little twist in the story, right? That's always in play, lurking probably deep into the background. It doesn't have to be big. Something so small like a pin dropping, if in a silent room, will be heard and felt. And I think that what could happen in the Dylan Rounds case, something small in the background, in the darkness, that could happen and twist things. Then, when the actual court cases do come about, then who knows what could happen there? Who knows who could step on into the courtroom? Is it someone Candice Cooley will be expecting? I don't know. Makes you think, like, if Don Hatley was within the courtroom, would Justin Rounds be able to hold it together? I'd think so. You know, you think about it, if Justin can keep it together when face-to-face with Brenner, like with the recent court hearings, and Brenner is the one that seems responsible for taking out Dylan alone, I guess. If Justin can handle himself there appropriately, then I'm sure he can with Don Hatley, who may have been a witness or played a second-hand role. That's what I would say. But yeah, interesting comment by Indiana to kick things off, right? Already looking ahead into the future of possibilities. Of course, in the chat, let me know your thoughts about it all. Skeptical saying, hi Raf, got my big girl pants on and ready to take from the Raf report. Channel what I need and leave what I don't. Okay, so shout out to Skeptical. I guess it's encouraging that you got the pants on. I guess that does help in some way or another. And I guess it helps keep you warm too. Now, question is, Skeptical, do you need a spare pair for later on in this video? You might. If you don't have one, don't worry. I'm sure Indiana has got a backpack full of them. And if not, the Warlike Raf towel is always around to be used. It'll be fine, it'll be okay. Okay? Skeptical does say, I'm torn what to think about those spring cleaning bags. Did Candice Cooley say they were able to get to the grain shed before June 2nd? I don't know. I remember in Heavy D's video, she stated JB is talking but not really saying anything, something like that. So she must have gone to the property, don't you think, to check Dylan's grain truck? Maybe. I mean, if you think about it, I guess, do you know what? We'll actually talk about it once we get onto the maps, because there is another possibility we need to look at, okay? But yeah, it will tie on with what you're saying, Skeptical, in a way. I guess one other additional thing, what we need to add on in, which was a little bit dodgy in terms of information talked about. Candice Cooley said the bags out there, it was either white or black bin bags, trash bags, if the Americans call it that. Same thing at the end of the day. But I believe Candice Cooley was saying that the bags were white and there were kitchen ones. But then I remember a lot of people in chat at the time were saying, what? What is she on about? It's black trash bags. Why would it be kitchen bags? Yeah, it's kind of small scale that, but once again, differing information, it really doesn't help, right? I'll just throw that in right now before I do forget. Skeptical also says, I get the feeling Egder Frank Harsh Barger is a pretty well-off guy. Both properties in Ashton and Cave Creek are nice houses, properties, except people say he'd borrowed money from people and never paid them back. Did he have his eyes set on Dylan? I guess you never know. Should we do another poll right now, or is it a bit too soon? Actually, we can do a poll shortly. I get the feeling Egder Frank Harshberger is a pretty well-off guy. Both properties in Ashton and Cave Creek, nice houses. Except people say he'd borrowed money from people. Right, so the poll can be, do you think at any point Ed Harshbarger manipulated Dylan Rounds, used Dylan in some way? Could be financially, could be physically, something else, I don't know, but just very vague, yes, no, maybe, I don't know. Let me know your thoughts, right? Did Ed ever get involved with Dylan in a negative way? Try screw him over, use him, money-wise, whatever. You know, the more people that have been negatively impacted by Ed's presence and behaviour, then could it apply onto Dylan? Could Ed see Dylan as a bit naive and vulnerable? You never know, right? So yeah. And as well, what was the comments last night? People were saying how to pronounce the name. It wasn't Ed Harshbarger, it was Ed Harshaja. Ed Harshaja! See, this is what I mean. I can't say the name properly because then I just sound like a Japanese samurai warrior. Oh, Ed, what you doing in the mountains? Why? Ed Harshbarger! Yeah. And Indiana, I think, said it sounds more German. Maybe. Skeptical saying, anyone correct me if I'm wrong, Ed doesn't seem like someone who would be friends with Don Hatley or Jim Brenner, except to maybe get money from them. From what I gather online, Ed Harshbarger's dad married Phyllis Stelmeier. Lol, just heard Raf in my head pronouncing the name. I bet you did. The Stelmeier name is huge in the Teutonia, Ashton, Idaho area. It sounds like they may own the town. Wow. Never know. I mean, the town classified as a city on the maps, it is a very small place, so maybe cost-wise they probably can afford it, right? So, you know, and what was it? It was like family related, probably why Ed went up that way, to be honest. Kind of like how Don Hatley went to Casper, Wyoming, because family are down there, so probably for the best. Now, are these people moving wherever back to their families to group up, strengthen in numbers because of the Dylan Rounds case, get a story, alibi set up, defence in the background? I don't know. Makes you think, right? Does anyone in the chat answer Skeptical's question? Was Ed Harshbarger, or however you say his name, was Ed friends with Jim Brenner, Don Hatley, any of those? From last night, we heard that supposedly wherever Ed is at, wanted Kurt Wadsworth to come down and like work for him or work together, doing stuff, right? Interesting. Wonder why Kurt refused. Kurt just happy where he's at, fine what he's doing, maybe. But then again, if you think about it, if Saddle Saw Bar, Cowboy Bar Grill have been shut down for months because they've not really been making business, then wouldn't you want something to improve, maybe move on to elsewhere and everyone benefits in some way or another? Makes you think. Weezer, if you are here, and if not, I'll try and ask you the question later on in this video. Is Cowboy Bar and Grill, Saddle Saw Bar still closed? Feel free to answer if you're able to. So, yeah. And the name here, Phyllis, not Phyllis, the one with Ty Corbin. This is a different Phyllis, okay? He said a bit of a German type name. Phyllis Steigelmeier? Ja, Steigelmeier. There we go. Guten Tag. Let's move on. See, this is what happens if I do my German accent. I either sound gay or sound very angry. Can I sound both at the same time? Maybe. Cleo, thanks again. You're welcome with the witch's hat. Cleo, let me know if you ever need an upgrade on the witch's hat, okay? Because obviously, Cleo, with your presence, of course, with the super chats here and there, do you want your witch's hat to turn into a golden witch hat? Let me know, okay? Beatrice saying, I believe that those spring cleaning bags hold Dylan's body parts and maybe got chopped up in the grain shed and the dogs hit on the smell of blood on the ground. Badger, or resolved in muriatic acid that was used to neutralise the soil. Possibly, what a coincidence, right? Cleaning. Yeah, kind of like cleaning products, cleaning stuff, breaking it down. I mean, the talk about this, what's been more consistent? Well, I'd say whether Badger is right or wrong in what she thinks, she's been very consistent with the idea, which is good, right? Because other people end up switching it and changing, but Badger has been consistent with the possibilities. I guess it's just a matter of time. Do we find evidence which supports it, hints at it? I don't know. Maybe if people within the case aren't aware of these possibilities of disposal, then they might not be looking for certain items which involve the disposal of that action. Yeah, if you're looking for a tub, looking for buckets, certain, what do you call it, acids. I mean, what we can try and do is when we're looking at the photos shortly, Badger, feel free to let me know if you notice any acid buckets or products, agents which are around the area, if they are in shot. If they were empty, then you could suggest that they have been used, right, for Dylan. We got Angelina Jones turning back, so that's good. Hello. We got Glenn, and that's it for the comments. Fair enough. Okay. Looked at everything here. Yeah. Right. What we're going to do now is obviously move on to the main part of this video. Going to lock on, going to focus, and I think it's best to start off with the photos, be hands-on, analyse them, understand the spring cleaning and what could have followed before that, looking at the spots, possible hiding spots, okay, in the corners, things that might be obscuring other stuff, etc. And then once we've done that, we can then go onto the maps and then try and further understand the direction of where the bags went, okay? So when looking at these photos, I want to try and be in the mindset of Brenner at the time of where's the best spot to be hiding things temporarily, and why the lack of urgency as well. Because you got to take in mind with Brenner, okay, it happened on the 28th of May, Dylan being, taken out and disposed of from the looks of it. Did more desecration take place a day or two later? Maybe, maybe not. It seems possible, right? But what about, before spring cleaning time? So from the 28th up to the 2nd of June, by the time then, family are down, police are down, and that's when Brenner decides, oh, I'll go into here and I'll even manually move the grain truck to allow me some space to end up moving some things about, picking up objects and then bagging them, right? But whereabout in the room was Brenner when it was happening? Was he in the back, in the corner, at the front, at the side, left, right, centre, up or down? You'd think it's probably along the sides or at the back, because that's where most of the objects are at, right? Because in the centre, in the middle, it's open. But at the time, it wouldn't have been because the grain truck was parked in there. I doubt that anything was buried in the ground, because there was no reports or anyone saying about how, Brenner was seen digging anything. That wasn't the case. It was only Brenner was supposedly moving things about and putting them in bags, and that was all. I think maybe if Brenner was digging a hole, then maybe the police might have intervened more. Let me know your thoughts, fam. So when looking here, and of course we can definitely get up closer, probably start from the left and then work our way towards the back and then to the right. So you see the objects you see. My question is to you, how different is this photo compared to as if you arrived at the place on the day Dylan went missing? Besides the grain truck, being present, would it look any different to how it did here back in early mid 2022 of, I think it was after June. It was after June. Maybe it was around July, I think, when this was taken by Pancakes. But nevertheless, I just want to know your thoughts in the chat. What we see here with the material, what we have, would it be any different in comparison to how the grain shed appeared on the day Dylan Rounds was taken out, or the day later, or even when the family came down, we should say? Do you think it's any different? Because if you think about it, when we looked at slightly updated footage of inside the grain shed property, when Justin Rounds took that photo at night time, it appeared that there was more items moved about, preferably some of those chairs and buckets and that table there as well. Both the table and chair was brought out to around this area here. But I think that was because it was after the Heavy D interview which occurred inside of the grain shed property. So that explains that. But do you get the idea of, would this location look any different if we had the photos on the day or the day later of Dylan's disappearance and death? Is there anything here, or is there anything that was here that no longer is, besides the grain truck? Does anyone know? If anyone wants to fill in the blanks, feel free to do so. If you have an answer, make sure to leave a comment. Let's just do a poll. Maybe that's the best way. The poll can be, what we see here, do you think that there are any objects or items that were once here that are no longer present because they were taken away by police, family, etc., excluding the likes of Dylan's grain truck? Let me know your thoughts, right? Would be interesting. As I said, we're just working with what we've got. If there was more objects and items scattered about in the grain shed, then you could say maybe that's the area or spot where things might have been hidden temporarily, right? But I'll just work with what's on screen right now. So if we go here, this is on the left-hand side when you walk on in. It's pretty open, right? I don't think you could really hide anything here. I mean, what's that? Is that like a sack or a bag? Bit of cloth? Maybe you could conceal something behind it. Maybe. Sounds bad, but if you had like an arm or a leg, you could probably hide it behind the sheeting. But then again, you got to take in mind that it depends how much blood was found inside of the Grangeshed property, right? Isn't it interesting how Brenner had quite a lot of blood upon him, his shirt, his arms and hands, but there wasn't a great detail or report of blood found inside of the Grangeshed property. So why did Brenner get all the blood on him, but there was no blood spray, blood stains on the ground or on the walls of the Grangeshed? Does anyone know? Makes you think, doesn't it? But just let me know your thoughts as we do go along, the possible areas or spots where these items were at before being bagged by Brenner, right? It's kind of out of frame, but on the left-hand side where that like fencing is, on the other side of it, there appears to be a bit of clutter. And I don't think we've got it quite in the shot, but kind of like there, you got like a chair or something. On the side, you got a gate propped up, which is from that, I think, that gate. I think you got some like sacks or bags, bits of cloth covering over that stuff. Do you think that could be where Brenner hid some of the things? I want to know your thoughts. Apologies that I don't have the actual shot or camera angle of it. It's just hard to get hold of all this archived material, right, at times. But at least from here, I mean, you do have that bag back there, but that is to do with horses. Hay, just hay. You could have argued that maybe that bag could have been used to store something, though with it being left behind that later on, obviously it wasn't anything that important because it wouldn't just be left around like that. And I'm sure Brenner wouldn't just leave it there, right? So, you know, the other thing to acknowledge, of course, you're looking at the ground, you see all the trash, you know, the cans crushed up, the odd bits of wood, straw, hay dumped on the ground. You know, Brenner saying to the sheriffs when questioned, "Oh, I'm doing spring cleaning, I'm clearing up trash." And you go in afterwards and you see this, well, months on, you go in and see this, you can clearly identify that spring cleaning, getting rid of trash wasn't really the case, was it? Because there is still rubbish left behind. Could you argue and say, well, maybe there was just an immense amount of rubbish, so Brenner could only get rid of so much? Maybe, but then again, you could argue and say, well, if that was the case, why did Brenner not go back afterwards to clear up the remaining trash, right? And why was it so specific to that day, June 2nd? What, because the police were present and the family, and Brenner was thinking, oh no, best act now before it's too late. Try and, you know, save my chances of freedom in some way. But, you know, if Brenner was like that, despite bad timing, but still being invincible then to be able to go on and do what he did without being arrested or stopped. And yet Brenner didn't think for 1 second, oh, whilst I am doing this spring cleaning to clear up after myself and get rid of potential evidence, maybe even Dylan's remains, oh, I'll just leave the shirt in my trailer and just leave it be with all the blood on it from when I did take Dylan rounds out. You get what I'm saying? It feels as if Brenner did half a job when disposing and cleaning up after himself. Some actions he did right, other actions he did wrong. Disposing the phone in the pond arguably is a smart decision, though as for the digital forensics, not so smart, but is Brenner going to know? Probably not, right? Leaving the shirt in his trailer was a very dumb manoeuvre. The 27-second recording of Brenner incriminating him with, you know, Dylan's death and disappearance, that was more of a, you know, you're not going to know if it's accidentally recording the video when you're moving the phone about, so there is that. Any other items, details? I mean, the disposing of Dylan was a success up to a certain point, right, until Dylan's found, because no one's been able to find him yet. So As for like the main part of this case, the main evidence and the main thing, which is a person, Dylan Rounds, that's not been found. So it does make you feel that, if some actions were done which were a bit reckless and silly, but then other actions were done accordingly to plan and successful, it makes you think, did Brenner have help? Brenner can't. Do you think that Brenner's going to be making smart decisions as well as reckless ones at the same time? I don't know. Just feels like certain actions don't align with Brenner, but more so with another individual in the background. Let me know your thoughts. But at least for the spring cleaning, we're under the impression it was only Brenner inside and doing what he did. Don Hatley not being present. If anyone does have additional backstories, counterpoints to suggest that Don Hatley was around at the time, feel free to add in with those points, okay? I just don't see much opportunity here to be hiding things. If they were in open plain sight, surely some authority or family member would have seen them, right? It makes you think. There's a bag there, but I think that says seed on it, or seed. Looks a bit of a dodgy bag, looks kind of half empty or half used. Bit of cardboard there, which is a bit weird. That what you put a saddle on top of. I don't know what's underneath it, some cloth or rags. Kind of hard to tell, to be honest. Not much, right? Let's move on. Actually, what's this? There is some like blue orange rope. Does anyone know what that's for? Let me move on here. So we're looking more towards the back of the grain shed into the corner where you see a few other items. One thing that does stand out to me, okay, is this red thing here. Is that a chicken coop? Can anyone explain? Is that like a chicken coop where chickens would go in and rest, eat, sleep, lay the eggs, etc.? Because it looks like one. The reason why it stands out to me, why is that door open? Why is it open? Did someone open it to look inside? And it looks like it was open before Pancakes even went into the grain shed, right? So who checked inside? Makes you think. I would say, to be fair, maybe in there was where some of the items were stored, right? It's concealed within a shed, concealed within a chicken coop. A chicken coop within a shed. Does that make sense? It's like double the concealment, right? If police came on in, casually walked by, what are they going to see? Well, part of it's going to be obstructed by the grain truck that's in there at the time. And they might not be able to see too much inside. They might catch sight of the chicken coop in the background, but are they going to be walking up to it, inspecting it immediately? Probably not. Are the family? Probably not. Because you know what you got to understand is when the family went down to Dylan's farm, because that's like more personal to Dylan, because that's where he does his farming, where he's present, that's where his truck is at, personal possessions. That's why the family went down there first on the 30th of May, 2022, okay? And yes, I believe it was Justin that broke the back window of the truck. I don't know why exactly, but they did it because I guess they're worried about Dylan at the time, trying to make sense, maybe search for clues in the truck. And as well, it is Dylan's personal possession, so maybe as parents, they have a right to inspect and see what's going on. Though, if the parents went down to the grain shed property on the 30th or the 31st, depending, or the 1st of June, and they came here, are they going to be rummaging through that chicken coop? Probably not, because it's not to do with Dylan. It's not that obscure. It's not like of much interest at the time. You know, at the time, in the early days, when your son or daughter has gone missing, you're going to be looking for clues. You're going to be tracking down, like, obvious indicators or possessions of that individual that's gone missing. Where are those possessions at? Are they here where they should be, or are they over there? Is there anything in between which gives off a different direction? Is there anything out of the ordinary that looks very odd and strange? Yes or no? That's the type of stuff that you'd be looking for. You probably wouldn't be looking at this object though. So I've never thought about it before, I'll be honest with you. I've never questioned it before. But I do think that there was a possibility that maybe the chicken coop back here, with that door slightly open, some items could have been shoved into there, right? Because it's extra concealment. When people walk past, or if people go into the grain shed at the time, they're not going to see the items because they're hidden within another object, right? But it does look like someone did take a peek inside later on, with it being left open, right? So we could do a poll. The poll could be, within the grain shed property, where do you think those items were put before being bagged up by Brenner? You think on the left-hand side of the shed, at the back end, on the right-hand side, and then if there's another option, inside of the chicken coop, the red box. Let me know. The red box, the red flag. Kind of stands out in a way, a bit ironic. We can refer back to that very shortly. On the left-hand side, we got the shelf and some other objects and items. Of course, we do have the hole on the ground, which is slightly out of shot, okay, on here. Could that be a possible point where something was buried? I don't think so. Because at the time, grain truck, well, no, actually scrap that. From what's been said, at least, something was found, but then Candice Cooley says there wasn't because no forensics was done at the time, but something would have been originally there. So it's kind of back and forth, but it seems more like biological matter, not actual physical hard evidence as like objects, items, clothing, tools, handgun, firearms, any of that, right? It's not to do with that from the looks of it. Those sort of items and equipment then could have been put elsewhere, like how we said. When you look at the back, the shelves, although it's out of shot, there was like one item, like a black or white box on the shelf, and then fast forward months on, when Justin came down to take a photo, that item was no longer there. So that's still a mystery to this day. Do people in the chat remember that? Do you remember Tom Evans when we did before and after at the grain shed? How it looked like the odd object on the shelf, middle shelf disappeared months on. I mean, it could have fallen off the shelf, but why would it? Why would it fall off? Yeah. Now, these shelves look a bit rickety and old. The one on the right here, it's like see-through, so there's no back panel. Though that one here, that does have a back panel. So maybe something could have been like hidden around the back of the bookshelf, maybe. Some evidence temporarily hiding it. And then Brenner came back to move the shelf slightly, put his hand round the back and pull whatever out and then start bagging it up. Possibilities. I mean, do you know what I want to say is, besides the grain truck, did they do like any forensic? No, because Candice Cooley said there was no forensics done at the grain shed property. But technically there must have been, in a way, in the sense that a possession that belonged there at the time was the grain truck that was taken away and like tested in the labs. Didn't really give much of a result, because all Candice Cooley said was there was prints belonging to Dylan, Brenner and Don Hatley. And they said that it's all mixed up, so anyone could have used it at any point in time. So it's not really conclusive. It's not really for definite or easy to apply to the Dylan Rounds case. And I guess the prints of Brenner, well, that can be explained by the June 2nd spring cleaning, right? After June 2nd spring cleaning, then the grain truck was taken away and taken to the labs. And that can explain why Brenner's fingerprints, DNA, are on the wheel of the truck, because he drove it out June the 2nd, 2022. But what about Don Hatley? That seems to fade away, doesn't it? Candice Cooley saying, oh, well, multiple different prints. We don't know what's what. It could be anything. Yeah. But Don Hatley had prints inside of the grain truck. Why is no one talking about that? That's what Candice Cooley said in the early days, that Don Hatley's DNA was found inside of the grain truck on the wheel. Now, why would Don Hatley be using the grain truck? Why? What span of time during leading up to Dylan's disappearance, on the day of Dylan's death, or much earlier before that? Does anyone know? See, this is what I mean. This is why it's really important, this video, and the focus necessary, because what we're talking about right now is forgotten stuff, such as Don Hatley's DNA being found inside of the grain truck and Candice Cooley kind of brushing it aside. That's pretty important, right? If Don Hatley has been talked about as a potential witness or suspect, person of interest, if Justin Rounds has been cautious and a bit annoyed and frustrated with Don and calling him out over time, you know, you shouldn't take this evidence, DNA findings, lightly, right? You can understand it from the point of view with Brenner, right? Were the prints of Brenner that were found inside of the truck belonging to him on the day Dylan was taken out, or before that? Or is it only to do with the June 2nd spring cleaning of when he just simply drove it out of the shed and that was all? That's a little bit mixed up. You can't really date back that to when he actually used it. The only thing you can look back to is the spring cleaning, Brenner moving the truck out. But what about before? Did he use it before that? We don't know. It's kind of hard to tell with these other prints already existing. But there's other names involved, like Dylan Rounds. Well, that makes sense. Dylan Rounds originally being the last one to use it on the 28th, right? But what about Don Hatley? When did Don Hatley use Dylan's grain truck? Does anyone know? We're going to do a poll right now just to really highlight the significance of this. Now, take in mind, maybe Candice Cooley is wrong about the odd thing here, but that's the last thing she said about it, and she's never changed it ever since, right? So the poll can be, due to the reality or the DNA being found that Don, well, how do you even word it? Put it into words. There's so much to process here. The poll can be, with DNA evidence linking Don Hatley to driving the grain truck at a particular time, do you think that's suspicious? Yes, Don used it during Dylan's death, disposal. No, not suspicious. Could have been done way back in the past. Kind of strange. I don't know. Feel free to vote along the lines of that. If I can clear it up, re-clarify things, make it easier to understand, I will do so. I just want to highlight the importance of this, and I just want to see from your point of view, do you find it equally as important? Like Tom Evans, what do you think about this? Don Hatley's DNA being found inside of the grain truck, supposedly speaking. I think that's pretty important, right? You narrow it down to 3 people because there's only 3 people where DNA was found from inside of that truck. Dylan, Don, Brenner. Wow, that's literally it, right? When people refer to that Benjamin Franklin quote with Justin in recent times saying it probably involves Dylan, Don and Brenner. The 3 people that know what happened, one of which is dead, the other 2 are on the way to death. So the secret goes with them. Yeah, something like that. Apologies about being zoomed in on the screen there. It's just because sometimes when I'm narrating, I'm not always looking at the screen of the phone. I'm looking out through the window just to maintain focus whilst I'm telling the story or coming up with different thoughts and ideas, okay? So be sure to, vote on the poll because I do think it's very important, okay? But yeah, as for what we see on screen, over that way, it's a bit of a bench, a tool bench. It appeared at the time that there was a chainsaw or part of a chainsaw on top of the table, but I think the odd person said it wasn't and it was something else. Never really came to a conclusion about that. At the time, it was interesting because it was a chainsaw. Maybe you could have applied it to the desecration of Dylan Rounds and cutting him up, maybe. But then again, you must also ask, what about the blood? What about the blood splatter? If you're going to cut through someone, is it going to splatter all over the place? You get what I'm saying? Maybe if you had sheeting down, which, collected most of the blood, but then you could ask, well, where did that sheeting go, right? Is there anything else, though, over this way? Table, bits of junk, bits of metal, the odd tool. Not really much you could hide there. Maybe you could put something in that cardboard box or underneath the table. On that workbench, not much going on there, to be honest. It's just a bit of clutter and mess. But maybe within the clutter and mess, you could conceal the odd item, which people wouldn't pick up on at the time, right? I mean, we do have some buckets at the bottom on the right-hand side, if that's of interest to you. It might be hard to see, but, Badger, let me know if you see any potential buckets of acid or stuff like that. Can we zoom on in? Unfortunately, we can't really see the brand or the wording of it, but if any of you know, can you associate these colour of buckets with a certain product or what it could be used for, if that's even possible? We got some mesh there from the looks of it. Now, if that's mesh, is that the chicken, do you call it chicken wire? Some kind of stuff what you would maybe wrap around or cover some of the, what do you call it? Maybe the roofing, cover it on top up there, maybe. It's making me think. But yeah, it's very interesting, if I do say, because you got some items there which you could associate with the potential chicken coop, and we've also got some just items in general scattered about which could have been used as a form of concealment, like a box, a bucket, behind the bookshelf, right? I guess it all depends the size and amount of these items. What I've got to understand from what Candice Cooley said, because either she witnessed it herself or the police sheriffs did. I personally think that if Candice Cooley was actually there at the time to witness the spring cleaning, if she was, then why did she not put her foot down and say something or confront and say, hey, what's going on here? What is going on? Can anyone confirm, was Candice Cooley present on the day near the grain shed June 2nd, 2022? Or was she elsewhere and she heard it from the police afterwards? Because I just feel that if Candice Cooley was on site, then surely she would have done something about it, or at least protested, or at least maybe followed Brenner afterwards to wherever things went. I'd be under the idea that Candice Cooley wasn't there. But she did report back on saying how many bin bags were taken out of the shed. So I guess Candice Cooley was informed by the police, the officer, or she asked about it in the first place, maybe. And it does vary, the number. At the time, I heard it as 4 to 6 bin bags, trash bags. But then some other people said they heard it as 6 to 12 trash bags. 6 to 12 is a fair amount, right? You're going to be taking them out all at once or one at a time. Guess it depends how big the bags were and how full they were, right? You imagine being at the front of the entrance or nearby and watching Brenner walking on out with those trash bags, black or white, whichever colour. Were they bursting? Did it look like anything was protruding through the trash bag? Anything sharp? Anything pointy? Or not? Were the bags slightly discoloured? Were the bags dripping? Anything like that? That's what you'd have to try and ask or question. Wow. And as well, what numbers are we dealing with? 4 to 6 trash bags or 6 to 12 trash bags? The more trash bags, the more possible evidence. The more trash bags, possibly the more likely that maybe Dylan was dismembered. You get me? Because if you're going to chop someone up and then you put them into bags afterwards, you're not going to be able to fit a full body in one little trash bag. No, you'd need one of many for the different body parts. As bad as it sounds, that's what you'd probably need, right? So if there was a lot of bags, then there's a higher chance of dismemberment. Less bags can still be evidence, but maybe less likely to be body parts. That's what I would say, at least. Okay, just let me know your thoughts in the chat. I would like to do more polls, but there just isn't the time to do it because we've got these important polls in place already. Okay, and I'll just say it once again, if you have suddenly joined, make sure to rewind back to the start of this video, or at least the start of this discussion about the shed. So far, we've already talked about very important possibilities, very important possible areas of interest, okay, etc. And some very important questions. So make sure to rewind back and catch up on stuff. And as for the people currently watching, be sure to share and like the video to spread awareness of such an important event which has faded away with time, right? Yeah, and as well, anyone, feel free to make notes with what I've said. If you wish to talk about this stuff elsewhere on other channels, platforms, feel free to do so. Maybe just simply give a brief quote that Warlight Wrath suggested this or that, just so people know where it came from and then it doesn't turn into Chinese whispers, okay? Just make sure to do all that if you can. That'll be good. But yeah, the quantity of bags in question, the colour of the bags in question. If the bags are black, bit more concealed, right? If the bags are white, maybe they could be a little bit see-through. And if not that, maybe they might show red marks, trails of blood, skid marks of blood if body parts were in them. Whereas black bin bags, trash bags, that won't show the red as clear, right? Because it's more dark. It's, do you call it opaque? Something like that? Yeah. Yeah, there's quite a bit to take in. And we'll look on the right shortly. We can right now. Okay. So this is on the right hand side, and I'll point out to what we're looking at over here, right? What do we have? Well, we've got either a washing machine or a tumble dryer for drying off stuff. Probably not used, but could, you know, things have been put inside of it. The odd object just to conceal it temporarily. Maybe. It's got a door. It's accessible. Open it up. Shove some things in there. Could even be clothing, right? Dylan's clothing or Dylan's hat, whatever. Obviously not the boots, though. Let me know your thoughts, right? What else do we have here which could be interesting? Get off. Out of sight, but on the left-hand side, we do have a saddle and it being perched on one of the saddle resters. Below it, we do have like red cables. Don't know what that's for. Red rope. Is it to do with the horse? Farm-related stuff? Used to tie up Dylan rounds? I don't know. It was left there, so obviously not that important because it would have been taken away or analysed for sure. You've got a wheelbarrow, but no wheels, which is a bit dodgy. Yeah. Could that have been used? If I be honest with you, okay, if I think about it, after Dylan was taken out and Brenner may have like picked up Dylan or started dragging him, another way of moving a person would be to dump them into a wheelbarrow, I should say, a wheelbarrow. Drop them in it, providing it's got wheels, and then wheel them off to wherever, right? Anyone think along that lines? The only thing that I would say is, why aren't the wheels present? I don't think Brenner would end up using it to take Dylan somewhere to make it easy and then return it back and then take the wheels off. There'd be no reason to be taking the wheels off. So I'd probably rule this out. It could be a possibility in other cases, but in the Dylan Rounds one, I would rule the wheelbarrow out. That it wasn't used because there's no wheels, right? But this tumble dryer or washing machine could have well been used to conceal, temporarily store evidence, right? Because if the family came on down looking for Dylan Rounds, they're probably not going to open this up and think, Dylan, are you in there? They're not going to be thinking that, are they? What we need to do, though, is just return back here so we're a bit more zoomed on out. Those buckets down there, any buckets stand out to you? Any dodgy ones? Buckets which could hold acid or once held acid, I should say. Let me know your thoughts, okay? That might be a hosepipe reel, that. There's a fair few buckets. Who knows what they were used for or what was stored in them at the time. Water bottle on the floor. Can't be Brenner's, right? The odd can, bit of cardboard, straw, hay dumped on the ground. That's to do with the horse at the time, Briscoe. Brenner's horse. Just let me know if there's any items there which are a bit odd, strange to you. Let me know, Badger. Is there any other areas around here which could have been used to conceal items, whether it be stored inside or put round the back, for then following June 2nd for Brenner to walk on in and then move stuff about, pick the things up and then bag it. I would say it would have to have been put in a certain area of the shed which was out of sight, in which when a family did come on down and went inside, they didn't see it immediately, right? If there was potential evidence and it was left out in open sight on the ground right there, then you'd think the family would obviously see it. The police, whoever, search and rescue. Though that wasn't the case, because days later Brenner was able to get rid of that stuff. So that stuff Brenner got rid of must have been concealed in the first place for no one to see it, right? That's what I would say. So it's just all about mapping it out visually on the day, the events of whereabout did Brenner go on in? Did he turn to the right, left, or go right down to the bottom? I wonder if the sheriff would know. The sheriff did say that, yeah, Brenner said he was going to do spring cleaning and he got on with stuff and the grain truck was moved. But do any of the police, any of the sheriffs looked inside when Brenner was shuffling about or not? Were they looking the other way? It does seem very odd, right? But I still think and feel that this shed plays a part, this chicken coop, right? You think of a chicken coop and you think, how does that link to Dylan's disappearance? Well, you wouldn't think so, would you? And maybe that's the perfect spot to hide items of interest and value, because it's the least likely place you would look inside, right? Now, is Brenner smart to think like that? Probably not, but even common sense, you think, well, I'm in a situation where I need to hide stuff, and this is probably the best opportunity I have, maybe. Or if there's anything else around, that's where I'll dispose of. Let me know your thoughts, right? Just focus back in here. Can we really see much in there? Not really, unfortunately. It's kind of hard to tell. Looks like there's 2 shelves, I think. Probably not that deep, but it just depends what those items were in the first place, right? What was being disposed of. Just let me know your thoughts, okay? What do you think about this on screen right now? Do you think it's a possible hiding spot? It's definitely a spot which no one has really referred to or thought about before, right? I've seen in old videos like with Pancakes and other people on their shows and panels when they were on YouTube saying, oh, look what we've got here, we've got that, then we got this, we've got a little table, we've got a little chair. And it's not like, it's just a brief over observation. Look what we have here, the end, move on to something else. It's not, look what we have, how could it be used in the case until now. So I would say, once again, what I'm covering right now in the Dylan Rounds case, besides what other people are doing, I am the only person to be locking on this focused and this deep and covering a possible area, possible perspective and angle of a particular event in the case which no one has ever done before. So there's great significance here, I would say. So of course, be sure to make notes because there's a lot to take in. And I'll try my best to title the video as best as one can. Okay. So you saw a quick glimpse of the next photo. Where's that at? Near to the Grangeshed property, in case you're wondering. Near to Brenner's trailer, right? It's a smaller shed, significantly smaller, right? What was the shed used for? Simply storing items, more so Brenner's items. Saddles for his horse, maybe some buckets, some spray, etc., right? So a shed for storage is a place where you could store evidence, right? Now, when it was referred to spring cleaning June 2nd, 2022, they said it was the Grangeshed property where it took place, right? Okay. But why not think outside of the box and possibly suggest, was there any other areas or locations where bin bags came out from? You never know, might not always know the full story. So looking here, and do we have two different photos? Yes, we do. So this is like a side view of it, kind of like hardboard or wood chipboard or so. This actual photo was taken later, I think. This photo taken August 21st, 2022, I believe, round about then. And this was from Glorin Dellen's point of view. He was present here along with Pancakes and some others. I think that's Pancakes in the distance, that guy over there. I don't know why, but the placement of him, he looks like a scarecrow. I bet Kaylee would be proud. Anyway, that's unrelated. Don't know who this guy is in the blue shirt. No one ever explained it. Does anyone know who this bold guy was in the blue shirt? Does anyone know? Would be interesting. This was a time when Glorin Dellen, Salty Pancakes, Kurt Wadsworth and some others were present all at this area. Just like documenting it from the looks of it. And what you see on the side on the right is Brenner's own personal shed from the looks of it. You look inside, unfortunately we can't really get around the corner of it. I don't think I had the correct angle, but around the side you had a few more buckets, you had saddles which were there around the corner. Just makes me think, I don't know what that banana is doing down there. Oh, let's get off. So what I'm suggesting is this small little shed, is there a possibility that anything of interest, any evidence was stored in here? We can do another poll right now. Just make sure to quickly vote on the current one. Okay. So the new poll can be, besides the Grangeshed spring cleaning, do you think that there was any spring cleaning in the smaller shed of Brenner's near to the Grangeshed? This one on screen right now. Yes, no, maybe, I don't know. You think anything was stored in here? More smaller, maybe a bit more personal, maybe a little bit harder to hide stuff because it's like a small space, so you haven't got as much room for storage. Yeah, and not as many obstructions either, or obstacles. Some piping, I think, there. There's a bit of rope on the side on the right. The banana, which is a bit silly. But I don't know what that is. So just let me know your thoughts, okay? So, as for what we've looked at, we probably went a bit deeper than expected. So I might retitle this video so it fits well. Probably call it Very Important Detailed Look into the Spring Cleaning. Possible locations of concealment, item of interest found, or concealment spot found, and I'll circle the, this here just as a marker, a beacon, because this was one of my main focal points of this video. So hopefully you understand that. But what we can do now, of course, is go on to the maps just to have a possible look at locations and directions of where those bags ended up, okay? As you see on screen right now, we are on the maps and we have the locations, points of interest marked out as maybe spots or directions Brenner could have taken when disposing of the bags, because reality is people haven't been able to locate the bags, so they must have been disposed of, right? Somewhere. It's just a matter of finding them. My question is to you, what's more likely to be found first? Dylan Round's remains or these disposed trash bags, right? Both disposed of around close to one another at the time. 28th of May 2022. Dylan, and maybe a day after, moved elsewhere. And 2nd of June 2022, trash bags. Well, was it on the 2nd of June they were thrown away, or did Brenner drive off? No, not from the looks of it. Just to add a point in, Candice Cooley said when Brenner came out with the trash bags, he took them near to his vehicle and loaded them on the back and left them there. So you're telling me that not only was Brenner able to go into the shed and do what he did and move a piece of evidence like the grain truck, he was able to come on out with them, go over here, this area, and load them up on his truck in open sight. And I guess his truck, the loading part of it round the back, do you call it a pickup truck, was exposed. It wasn't concealed. So bags of potential evidence left out in the open. Seems wild. And the police were nearby but didn't check inside of the bags to see what it was. None of that. That's wild, isn't it? Candice Cooley also added in, saying a few days later, that's when Brenner and his friend Don Hatley took a trip down to Wendover, supposedly in Brenner's own truck. So the truck was going down to Wendover and the trash bags were in the back. You'd think that's the direction they went in, right? And that was allowed, no questions. I guess if you say to the police, just doing spring cleaning, just gonna drive off later, dispose of it, nothing to see here, I guess the police allow it, right? But no efforts or attempts were made to track them down or to follow them from a distance. So got a bit of a lost cause. So of course, it's all about trying to trace it, track it down. Lance Kelly did it himself for a little bit when in Lucin. I think it was more south where he was, like down this way on the road, the dirt road, right? He was down there. Didn't find anything, but it was worth a try. If I haven't already set it by now, the poll currently can be, what do you think will be found first? Dylan Round's remains or the discarded trash bags from the Grainshed property? Let me know. Feel free to vote. Which one first? The other option could be neither are found. Or the other option can be the bags are never found. Something like that. Okay. So some of these areas might seem familiar, like Governor's Spring, Pigeon Mountain, the Wash, Grouse Creek, because they have been talked about in the past. Originally, they were locations in the interest of Ty Corbin, high probability areas he thought where Dylan could be at, right? Does that still apply now? I don't know. You think about it, when Candice Cooley says they've checked the grain shed, they've checked the pond, they've checked the main line, they've checked the farm, and they've ticked it all off the list, but they've never mentioned Little Pigeon Mountains or Governor's Spring, right? That's probably because to them, they don't think that's where Dylan's at, but it still technically is classified as a place of interest if it's never been truly or 100% searched, right? Because I know in the past, Ty Corbin said he went to this area or that area. It was a bit sketchy, bit dodgy, probably needed a dog or so or some assistance. Was that ever followed up? I don't know. Maybe some of you will know. Was it Rosebud? Was it Rose Wash or something? They said it looked a bit dodgy. It might need to go back here. I don't know. Once again, things faded with time. But the way I see it, right? Brenner being here. But what about Don Hatley? If Candice Cooley is saying that Brenner and Don Hatley drove down to Wendover early June, whose vehicle? You'd think Brenner's vehicle, because of the whole trash bags being loaded in the back and being taken down to dispose of down that way, from what Candice Cooley said. But how did Don Hatley get down to here? Did Brenner drive to Don Hatley's, pick him up, and then go off wherever? Or did Don Hatley drive down to this place and then got into Brenner's vehicle? I don't know. It seems a bit weird, right, doesn't it? If Brenner picked up Don Hatley, you'd have to... Which way would he go? Would he go north this way? Or would he go round the back roads down this way and then over this way, turning around, going past Lucin Hill on the left, passing the pond, crossing on over here, West Entrance Transcontinental, heading up this way, correct, and nearby being that place. What's that? Just noticed that. Oh, that's the highway. Weird. Guess it depends, right, doesn't it? Which direction did he head in? That's the first thing you would ask. You know, if you're the police or if you're the family, which direction did Brenner drive in when taking his truck wherever, which was loaded with the bags? North or south? They're really the only two ways to be going when you're on the Grangeshed property, right? Because it's like a one road, up and down. It does branch off, though. Here, you follow it down here, you do end up passing by the... Is it this one? Or maybe it's not. No, it's not. Never mind, scrap that, screw that. Oh, it's just before it, isn't it? That one there, where it turns off. And then you got the bra shed. That's the bra shed where the bras and the clothing and the pants were found by Lance Kelly. Never really solved that. Then you can turn off and connect back onto this dirt road and head that way, which is heading west, right? So currently we're facing west, right? The little marker there, 3 p.m, 28th of May 2022, the day Dylan went missing and was taken out. Truck leaving the shed, seen by Walt and Michelle, a couple, near Sun Tunnels when they were passing by the truck as it was leaving from that direction of the Grangeshed property. Very interesting, very suspicious, never followed up with the police. Police were never that interested, so that's not good, is it? Candice Cooley has never really referred to it either, because I think she's brushed it off when someone tried reaching out to her. I think it might have been Weezer. They're really not good, if you ask me. But the reason why I've put this here as an event is because although it's before the spring cleaning, what it goes to highlight is whatever reason the truck was down here in the first place, the primary reason wasn't to do with disposing of stuff from the grain shed from the looks of it. If Brenner had to do spring cleaning on June 2nd, yet you had a truck, some kind of large size vehicle coming on down days before the family and police got there, a great opportunity to use that truck to take those trash bags and put them into the truck, then drive the truck on or get the driver to go wherever and dispose of. The perfect opportunity, right, to do a long haul with all those bags of trash, yet never happened, did it? It couldn't have done if Brenner had to do the spring cleaning days later. So what was the purpose and point of that truck being present days before? There's got to be another reason to it, right? Do you know Walt and Michelle? Tom Evans, if you know or if you can ask about. My question is, okay, a truck was seen leaving the Grangeshed property. Did the witnesses, Walt and Michelle, actually see the truck crossing over the gate? You know what I'm saying? is there a small possibility, and it's probably unlikely, is there a possibility that the truck went up to the grain shed gate, realised the gate was locked, and then turned about? Anyone know? Just a thought, that's all I'm saying. Right. So it kind of makes it even more mysterious as to the whole purpose of that truck if it wasn't intended to be assisting Brenner in the spring cleaning days before. Right, so another purpose for it. Though, maybe we need to follow that up in another video. I feel, though, that if Brenner Don Hatley went to Wendover as Candice Cooley claims, do you ultimately think that that's the day the trash bags were disposed of? You'd think so. I mean, surely the common sense would be if Candice Cooley or whoever else present witnesses the, truck leaving the property and Brenner inside of it, then all you have to simply do is wait for Brenner to get back and then look at the truck. If the truck comes back on the same day later on in the afternoon and the back end is empty, no bags to be seen, then obviously they were disposed of on that day. Yeah, no attempt or effort was made to, focus on that or follow it up. So, a bit silly, right? And as well, the next question, how long did Brenner and Don Hatley spend in Wendover? Was it for the day or two? Did they stop there overnight? Did they go down there to get their stories straight? What was the whole point of that? You get what I'm saying? Wendover being down here, Wendover does have motels, hotels, casinos, etc. McDonald's, Burger King. Maybe they got food down here. There is some waste disposal places as well if you maybe get rid of the trash there. I think the biggest point is, right, CCTV in the area. That'd be one of the biggest questions. What about it? Does it show Brenner's truck in the area on a certain day back then? That's what I'd like to know. Oh, it's a little bit outdated, this. My, come on. Give me a second. If they can get CCTV footage for Chase Venstra, who's not even a part of the Dylan Rounds case, not even been charged with the Dylan Rounds case, yet they could just find CCTV footage just like that at the Flying J's, Snowville, Utah, and then later on in the day CCTV footage of Clinton near to there and Ogden at fast food places like KFC, Little Caesars Pizza. If all that effort was taken then on a potential suspect who turned out was never a part of the case, if CCTV footage can be claimed there, then why have no CCTV footage been taken in Wendover? If it involved Brenner, the main guy, and Don Hatley, one of the main witnesses, why no CCTV footage here? Well, maybe not literally here on the road, but over that way where all those buildings, shops are, where there is CCTV cameras. There will be CCTV in Wendover. Yet no CCTV footage has been claimed, found to point out that this is where Brenner was, this is where Don Hatley was on this day, this month, this timestamp throughout the day. Why not? Isn't this really bad? People in the chat, do you understand? Do you agree that this is really, really bad? Wow. It's bad enough allowing Brenner to go into the grain shed and manipulate things, mess things about and, take stuff away. Then it's another to be able to store it in the back of his truck maybe for a day or two. And then it's even worse being able to just allow him to go off wherever, dispose of the stuff, and then not even make an attempt to monitor, does he come back or not? Is the truck empty or not? Oh, should we check for CCTV? No, we won't. Wow. Right, we're going to do another poll right now. Very important. The poll can be, if CCTV footage was taken to do with Chase Venstra, then why can't the same be done with Brenner, Don Hatley? Do you agree with that statement? Maybe I need to reword it. Do you agree that the lack of CCTV footage of Brenner, Don Hatley in Wendover is detrimental to the case? It harms the case. It cuts off another, I don't know, piece of evidence, alibi or not. Does it just cut off new leads? Let me know. Do you think more should have been done back then regarding CCTV? Why say it so casually? Oh yeah, I went down to Wendover, a little trip down there. You need to be monitoring these people's movements. If you do it with Chase Venstra, monitoring him, then you should be doing the same with Brenner, because obviously he's the main one, as Candice Cooley always talks about. And if that is the main one, then why wasn't more done on him? To be honest, you could say more effort and time was put into Chase Venstra, who's not even a part of the case, than Brenner. That's not good. Wow. I don't know why, but I feel like I'm uncovering, or at least just thinking of stuff I've never really mentioned as well as now compared to back then. You know, I'm talking about it more now, I mean. Wow. West Wendover. Emergency medical service next, right. So I want to know your thoughts. This trip to Wendover, the place, the possible place where things were disposed of. I mean, realistically, if you used to go down there now, look for the landfill or whatever's present, you're probably not going to find that stuff because it's long gone by now, right? Though, if not there, could it be before, like the journey on the way down? So up that way is north, probably driving down this way because it's the quickest route and away from the highway. In alignment adjacent to the dried salt lake, the lake itself, also in alignment with Pilot Peak, little Bald Eagle mountain range further on up, right? This road here. Can you see? Anywhere down here where the bags could have been discarded. If they were discarded just in the open, then they would be obvious, right? And you'd probably find them. So could they have been buried? I mean, if Dylan Rounds has been buried, you'd probably think maybe the bags would be. If Dylan's phone was thrown in a pond to conceal it, hide it, and try and break it down so it couldn't be traced as best as one could, then you'd think the same caution and thought would be taken in place with these bin bags, right? To get rid of them. That's the main objective. Okay, I'm just getting in position. We don't need to focus too long here, though, because, you know, previously I have done a bit of coverage along this area. But maybe you could incorporate closer to the mountain range of Pilot Peak, the lower section, and if not that, further up this way north where we have Governor's Spring, which Lance Kelly did go to, and Patterson Pass, because you can drive up that way, drive down, and then you've got Brenner's burnt down trailer and property on the other side up that way. So you can kind of see how things play out. Though more so up this way, Governor Spring, around, and on the other side, Lance Kelly, Ty Corbin have been round there. So has Alan, so has Scott Natal, Les Natal, and you may have thought they would have found something by now if the trash bags were dumped up that way, right? Maybe you could tick it off the list, possibly. Let me know your thoughts. Don't want to go too deep with these locations because technically we have briefly looked at them already, right? I think the initial part of this video was probably the most defining point, if I do say myself. Grouse Creek has been referred to here and there. You do have a wash, which is highlighted in red. Covers a fair bit of distance. It does work its way down into Lucin. As you can see, goes over the road tracks, or more so underneath them, I believe. Does it? We've gone a bit off it does go underneath the tracks. And you can see here, just a bit wonky, the red line, but it's clear when you zoom on out, right? I think the red line, I didn't do it on top of the wash because I didn't want to cover it up. I just did it by the side so you could follow it. We have done videos looking up close at that wash, so if you want to look back at that video, feel free to do so on my channel. But today I just wanted to kind of like piece it all together. You remember the whole stitching it together, but before that even happens, you got to get the scalpel and separate it apart, look at it bit by bit, and then once you made a bit of sense of it, then maybe you can link one to another. And I feel that's what we've done, right? So you got a long wash, possibilities of disposing stuff somewhere down it. But what I would say is, because it does also link onto the wash in Lucin, if anything does travel downstream going into Lucin, if anything was buried further on up near Grouse Creek, it might eventually work its way down into Lucin. Because just remember what we've heard recently, the weather reports, the flooding in Lucin, the washes being flooded, the flow of water possibly eroding the walls of the wash. It could uncover remains of Dylan, or it could uncover additional evidence. So if any of those trash bags were dumped in a wash, like here on screen highlighted in red, buried in the rock wall or the dirt wall on the side of the wash, maybe pressures, force of water, consistency of it can wear it away and eventually knock it out and push it downstream, and it might collect somewhere, and that's where you can find things which weren't there originally. So I think that is a possibility. I want to know your thoughts though, if you agree with that. Okay. Anything else to point out? The only reason why I highlighted over here Brenner's trailer, as you see in the white, right, is only because of those two shovels that were in place. I know some people have said it was staged by Lance Kelly and maybe someone else, but because it's a place Brenner knows, as that's where he once lived, he's familiar with the area, so if he does need to dispose of anything, then maybe he could do so here. And with the shovels, you got the equipment already. Though, I guess one thing to highlight is the police did come on down here, they did check it out and said they found nothing, and they did use all kinds of equipment and resources, so possibly you could rule it out. But what about the journey to there, which does encompass going over Patterson Pass as an alternative, right? Can we see the photos? Not really, but you can see it visually here. A good view of what's ahead and what's on either side, right? Somewhere up here, possibly, where things could have been disposed of, maybe. But what's the point coming all the way up here? Then what? You turn back and go all the way down? Or do you just cross on over and go into Montello? I guess that's the only bit that doesn't quite make sense. So maybe it still applies to Wendover, the trip down there. Candice Cooley said it herself, but I just wanted to give, different possibilities, other options, if you didn't agree with what Candice Cooley said, because some people think her accuracy is low. Okay. Governor Spring, Lance Kelly has been up here, didn't really find anything. Might have come across the odd interesting bits and bobs, but it didn't link to Dylan, right? You got to take in mind, is Brenner going to cover certain distance in an impractical way just to dispose of one thing? Maybe not. I think if we knew or had an idea how far Brenner was willing to go to dispose of Dylan, then we could gauge how far he might go with other evidence, which might not be as important. You get what I'm saying? If Brenner is willing to cover length and depth and cross mountains just to dispose of Dylan, then you get an idea of maximum range. But still, it's the unknown, it's the uncertainty, right? We know Brenner's physical state, his condition, his lack of mobility, being a bit overweight. But if he did have help, then maybe that could have helped. Then again, someone like Don Hatley, he's pretty big as well, if not bigger than Brenner. So even between the two, there might have been limited still, don't you think? But of course, just feel free to share your thoughts. We can do another poll right now. The poll can be from the locations what we've looked at today. Which area do you think is the most likely spot for Brenner to dispose of the trash bags? Down in Wendover or along the way during the trip to Wendover? In the mountain range, like what we see on screen? Near Don's place? Burying stuff over that way, do you think? Let me know your thoughts, okay? I mean, if Don's place hasn't been truly searched enough, then, why not check? Because the bags could be over that way. What about Pigeon Mountains? Just Pigeon Mountains, if it's like where some hikers go to, maybe it's not the best. Looks a bit rocky as well, so maybe it's not that practical. Just wanted to highlight it as another potential spot, just as well, because Ty Corbin thought this was a possible spot where Dylan could be disposed of, right? I feel that maybe the disposing of the stuff ties in with an event that supposedly went down, and that was told by Candice Cooley, saying that Don and Jim went down to Wendover. So I still think along that line, right? So there you go. All different possible areas to where the bags could be dumped at, or the direction they went in to then dispose of the stuff further on. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. So if we just put that aside, if you have joined right now and you want to know about Dylan Rounds, you're wondering where it is, rewind this video right now back to the start and catch up from there. Very heavy focus, very deep, talking about stuff we've probably never talked about before, nor has anyone else. So make sure to catch up on that if you've just joined right now. As for everyone else, welcome if you're still here, etc. Appreciate it. Now it's time we move on to a different theme, split down the middle, as said. Now it's time we see the return of an exclusive guest to the Warlike Ref show. Some of you may know, some of you may be familiar with. A great presence, a certain attitude and personality behind them. What we're going to go to now, and I'm going to share with you some very exclusive footage. Arguably, this is VIP access, behind the scenes, the most hands-on interview yet. Is everyone ready in the chat? Everyone in the chat, are you ready? Let me know. Say yes or no, whichever. I know Dale or Graham could be a bit awkward and say no, but tough. We're heading straight on forwards. There are things we need to look at, and this is one of them, which is the exclusive interview. And Dale, this does include you. So Dale, get here right now. You're here? Good. And as well, as with importance, if not more, all the kitty cats in the chat, big cats, wild cats, kittens, bobcats. What other cats are they? Oh, I don't know. Endless. But just be present. Be ready to see what's coming next. You don't want to miss this. Let's head on over now to this exclusive VIP footage. Okay. Hi. I've got to be very, very quiet because the cat is over there. So we're going to go up to the cat. We're going to see how it's doing. All the kitty cats in the chat, make sure to observe and look, okay? And we'll see how it goes. Hopefully the cat is relaxed and quiet, okay? Let's head on over. I'm going to move very, very slow. There we go. Oh my God. Oh my God. Dale. What are you doing here, Dale? I'm supposed to be interviewing the kitty cats. Hold on. Dale. Mr. Dale. Yeah, you can nod your head, Dale, all you like. Oh, look at Dale with his short little T-Rex arms. Oh, there you go, Dale. Shake your hand. Do you want feeding, Dale? Okay, open your mouth. Dale. Oh, Dale's being awkward. Here you go. You can have a pear. It's dried up, but there you go. There you go. Good boy, Dale. You're a very good boy. Okay, give me a second. The cat's just over there. Hold on. There we go. Fast asleep, very sleepy. Hold on, hold on. Mr. Sleepyhead. Oh yeah, kitty cat. Oh, kitty. Oh, the kitty cat, I think, has had a bit too much catnip. What do the kitty cats in the chat think right now? Watch of crazy. Watch of crazy. Don't be too noisy. I know you want to roar because you're a big cat. Not sure what type, but just keep it a little bit quiet for now, okay? Miss T, that includes you. Don't be falling on the cat. Then again, that's a bit hypocritical because I'm the one that sits on them. So everybody in the chat, say hello to this kitty cat. Why does this look like Maria? Maria on the catnip. Hold on. Little kitty cat. Kitty cat. You seen its little paws? Have you seen its tiny little paws? You can see the little claws peeking on out, right? Should I stroke the cat? Is that a good idea? Stroke the kitty? Maybe. Maybe we'll get a live demonstration. Let me just get a little bit closer. Come on, kitty cat. Whoa, kitty cat. Fast reactions. Very, very good. Yes, kitty, keep on licking. Lick the kitty. I mean, kitty lick. Sorry, that came out wrong. Apologies, cat. That was a little bit rude of me, but don't worry. It's perfectly under control. You keep on licking. See, kitties in the chat, kitty cat crew, this is how you should clean yourself. Lick with the tongue. There you go, look at that. Full on workout. Oh my God, you go girl. Actually, it's not a girl, I don't think. Keep on licking. Now, do we have any items at this disposal right now? I don't think we do. I like how I'm right next to the cat and the cat's not even looked at me. Too busy licking. Come on. I don't want to stroke it if it hasn't seen me. The hell's that noise in the background? Oh, here we go. Typical neighbour. I don't want to stroke the cat because they've not seen me yet. Hold on. Can I stroke you? Are you okay with that, cat? There we go. So the cat is tamed and controlled. Tickle. You like being tickled? I don't know why, but the cats like being stroked near the tail. Like when you stroke there, it's like, look at that tail go. It's like Miss T's feather duster. Is this Miss T's feather duster? Is that what you use to clean the house, Miss T? Looks very effective. It's twitching away. Ooh. So how does the cat feel? Probably a bit of a weird question, that. The cat feels soft. Yeah, just pretty much soft. A little bit warm as well. See, there you go. So all the people and the ones lurking in the background saying, Warlike Ref, have you ever stroked a kitty? You don't look like the type of person to have done so. Well, here you go. Here's proof. Proof I can stroke the kitty. Yeah. Ooh. Now this cat has it all under control, I can tell, because when I tickle it near the belly, it doesn't even like roll over or claw me. This cat, you know, is on good behavior. So for whenever there's any petty people in the chat, okay, take lessons from this cat, because this cat knows what they're doing. Isn't that right? Yeah. Little kitty. And I'm sure Tasha or Indiana saying, leave the kitty alone, it wants some sleepy time. My God, you don't know the stress and the long task that take to come across these kitties and interview them, you know. It takes a lot of time. My God. Get a little bit more comfortable. If anyone has joined right now, basically we've infiltrated one of the returning cats. Now this cat isn't the one with the pink nose, as you remember. This is the original black tuxedo cat. If anyone's wondering, is this cat mine? Nope, it's not mine. Is it kidnapped? Nope. Next door still being noisy. You gotta be careful because cats, the reflexes, sensitive. You never know, at any point they could end up twisting. Ooh, kitty cat, where are you going? Ooh, yeah, stretch for me. Do some yoga. No. Oh my God.
Petty ass bitch.
Where are you going? I'm not finished. My God. Where are you going? Excuse me? Excuse me, kitty cat. What do you think of Miss T? What do you think of Tasha? Do you think Tasha knows what she's doing? Have you had any dreams about Tasha? Too busy on the PS5 controller? Yeah. What about Famous Up? Famous Up is on PS5, a gamer girl. Did you hear that, Tasha? Maybe you need to interconnect with her. Do some networking. Yeah. Now, Miss T's feather duster. Hello, can I feel your feather duster? Not you, Miss T. Sorry, that sounds weird. Yes, there we go. I like how it just keeps wiggling around like a worm. Now, kitty cat, do you know who Org is? Do you know who... Do you know who Org the Orgy Ogre is? He's got a watch and he's got a cat. Do you want to meet Org's ginger cat? No? I don't blame you, man. You know, you get too near to the ginger cat, you're going to turn into a gingerbread man. Yeah, you keep on licking away. That's more important than talking to Org, isn't it? What do you think of that, Org? You think this is You think this is fine? You think this is right? How about this? How about this? Do you want a pear? Kitty cat, you want a pear? No? I heard cats act weird around cucumbers, but we don't have one. Excuse me? Oh, I'm sorry, you want to go in the shed? Kitty cat. Can you meow for me? Ooh. Ooh, stop wrapping your tail around me. I think this kitty cat is trying to ambush me. I think it's going to pounce on me in a second. Where are you gone? What are you doing behind me? Now this is the thing. I think the reason why the cat is behind me because it's almost like tempting me to sit on it. That's not how it works, kitty cat. It doesn't work like that. Don't go behind me because if I fall back, you know, it's going to be a bit rough. Now, hello. What do you think of Dale? Dale the dinosaur. Look, he's over there. Dale. Dale, stop playing about. I know you want to play with Graham in the grain shed with the toy soldiers. I know you want to commit war crime and mass genocide, but just hold on for a second. The kitty cat is down here. Can you please come on over, Dale? Hold on. Hold on. I think we can try. Give me a second. What you're going to see right now is almost like Godzilla and King Kong, but this time it's the kitty cat and Dale. Come on, Dale. There we go. Oh my God. Give me a second. This is all under control. Hold on, kitty cat. There we go. The kitty cat is meeting Dale. Kitty cat, look, it's Dale. No, don't come to me. Go to Dale. Poor Dale. Roll over. Roll over. Roll over. Rapido. Rapido. Oh my God. Stop flicking yourself. Stop flicking the beam. Oh yeah, you like that, don't you? Oh, watch of crazy. Is this you in disguise? Naughty individual. Try it one time. Inner feline. Calm it down a little bit. Stop flicking about. What are you doing? Gah. I bet people are so interested right now. Maybe something. Hold on. Look, we've got Dale. Look, it's Dale.
Hey everybody, it's me, Dale. I want you. Do you know who Betty Hayward is? No? I don't know. Oh, what a shame. Look, it's Dale. Kitty cat, it's Dale.
Dale, you got to try a bit harder here. Because this kitty cat is hard to work with. More TLC than guidance. So it looks like I'm the cat whisperer. Knew it all along. Come on, Dale. Just get a little bit closer. What do you think of Dale? See, I'm trying really hard here. You got to acknowledge that, Dale. Maybe if Graham was here, then it would work a little bit better. It looks like the cat's a little bit busy and engaged right now, licking the letterbox. Don't worry, Dale, the mailman, will seal it shut. Actually, I best turn the camera away. Sorry, cat. Oh my God, I'm so rude. I'm just turning the camera away because the kitty cat is busy with licking, and you can't interrupt a cat when it's licking. Oh, excuse me. I didn't say we were done yet.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa, hold on a minute. Goodbye. Did you see that? Whoa, very sharp claws. Watch her, crazy. Ooh, bet you've learnt a thing or two from this. That cat was gripping the side of Graham's shed harder than the shack lady does with the pole. Wow. Wow, wow. I'm lost for words. This has been the most enriching, most important video yet. Not only did we kind of interview a cat, but we actually got Dale to meet up with the cat. And we also got to see it in action in all kinds of ways. So hopefully the kitty cat crew learned a thing or two about that, right?
I'm sorry, man. Sorry. I don't know what I'm doing here. Straight out. I know exactly why I'm here, man. All the people in the chat, what are you doing here? What are you doing watching Walligraph? You should be over here with me. It's me time. What are you doing? I need to get my dog leash out. Where is it? Betty Hayward, where you at? I don't care, man. I've been calling you 24/7. I know you've been hooked up on cut and shoot, but what is going on? I'm calling you. That means you must answer the phone and nobody else. You know where you stand. You need to listen to my orders, man. Don't tell me I've got to get my PR Robbie to come on over and get you by the dog leash because it will be used. Don't worry, man. Heck, if it ain't gonna work, I'll do it myself. I'll pull the dog's thing round my neck right now and I'll be controlled anyway. I'll pull myself over. There you go, Betty Hayward. Betty Hayward, where you at? I'm sick of this. Miring about. I do not want to be coming on over here like a spy, even though I look like I'm dressed like one and a knockoff imitation. Maybe I'm a Chinese spy. Maybe I come in by spy balloons. I don't know. But I'll tell you one thing. This hat is not big enough for the both of us, Betty Hayward. I think you need to buy one yourself. And speaking of this hat, I've wore it for too long, just like this mask. I know Sully Pancakes wants to buy it off me, man. But I don't care. He can do it another day. That can be done another time. You don't need to worry about that. But what I want to tell you, I want to buy a new hat. And I've been looking about, and I got a nice supply. I've been going to all the high-end shops, because that's what I do. I got high class. I got high standards. That's what I do, man. I don't go for the cheap stuff. I don't go to the dollar store. Maybe you petty trailer trash people can go over that way. That's not how I roll. I'm a high roller. I know exactly what I'm doing. I'm the man. I'm the man with a plan. I know exactly what I want. And what I want is a new hat right now. But speaking of which, that interview by Walligraph with the cats, how did I not think of that? That is just revolutionary, man. He cannot have those ideas. They're mine! He's been copying me. He's been copying me all this time. And I cannot believe it. Betty Hayward, get here right now. Come on, Betty. Damn, my hat's fallen off. I've been exposed and revealed. Betty Hayward. There we go. Betty Hayward, do not move at all. Stay right where you are. Anyway, as said, pardon me, I'm sat down at the moment. I'm suited up. There we go. Let me just put my hat back on. There we go. What's that, Matt Lingo? You're triggered by the dangly shred? Does it look like I care, man? I don't care if you're triggered or not. Your opinion is irrelevant. You do not matter. You're just a number. And you're one of the numbers that should be on my channel right now. Oh, you're on Rumble, but you're not participating? You're not leaving comments in the chat? I'm disappointed in you. How could you do that? So rude. You gotta be, where's the PayPal at? Where's the Cash App? Where's the Venmo? Where's the Pay Cow? Where's the Cow Pig? I don't know, man. I'm really sick of this. Anyway, I think it's now time that I try some new hats on. And we got a nice pretty little hat here for Mr. XYZ. Oh, my. No. We ain't starting no more drama. I'm not lowering myself to these petty peasant standards. I don't care, Motor City Maniac or Motor Building. This ain't your hat. You may claim it is, but it's mine. I own the copyrights to it. I'm the one that invented it in the first place. You want to take it up with my legal team? We can do that. Don't worry. I got all the proof. I got the receipts. I got more receipts than the shack lady has with poles ran up her ass. Don't worry, I know exactly what I'm talking about. This mask is causing a bit of chaffing on my face. It's gone a bit red. I've got a bit of a rash, but guess what? It was always that, an XYZ chromosome. That's what it's all about. That's what I just said. But I'll tell you something, this hat is pretty good. Betty Hayward, you think that's good? Say yes. Don't even counter the point. Don't even give your own opinion. I want you, Betty Hayward, to say that it's good, and that's pretty much it. And I want all the other audience members Yeah, watch your crazy. Yeah, I'm speaking to you. I don't care what you're talking about on the other kinds of chats. I don't care what kind of petty behavior you are. You're going to say, and you're going to acknowledge me right now, watch your crazy. You're going to say that this hat looks pretty and beautiful upon me and nothing more. You're going to resist against it. We're going to have a problem. You understand that? Yeah, good. Anyway, I'm sure Jim Terry will be very impressed with this. I'm sure he'll be beyond excited. So I do like this hat. This is one of the options I went for when I went to the mall today. A very high-end mall, should I say. Yeah, I want a cheap one. It was very expensive. It cost like $1,000, this. But, you know, we don't just stop there, man. Of course, it's black to match my soul. Yeah, it's very dark. But I think we could lighten things up a little bit. Actually, I do have one here right now. You know what? Why not go incognito, man? We gotta stand out from time to time, and I think this is real good. I mean, this is really good. I've never seen anyone else do this before. It's like a one-off. No one's ever gonna recreate this. Got a nice little grey colour, just to demonstrate my shades of grey. I know Pancakes kept talking about 50 Shades of Grey. Maybe we could do some setup scenario there and, you know, create some kind of dodgy, I don't know, scene or some kind of moment in a movie. But then again, we'll be copying Walleye Rath and Betty Haywood with the contract signing. But guess what? I introduced the contracts in the background because I'm the only one that has to pay for about. Watch her crazy claiming that she's involved in some way. Of course she is. You know, she just wants to set up her own channel so then she can do videos, endless videos and live streams of data analysis and pie charts and bar charts. Ha! Who's going to be turning up for that stuff? No one watch her crazy. You saying that I'm mean? You saying that I'm a bully? Ah, that's just weak talk, man. You have no clue what you're talking about, man. No clue. Anyway, I think this hat is really pretty. It's got a nice little bit of rope as well. I'm really excited. Oh my god, goody goody. Sorry, I don't know what I was going there. My voice is going a little bit off there. I was going a bit bent. But you know what? We don't just stop there. Yes, I can turn it around and I can look like a sailor. That's real good. But I'll tell you something, man. The one and only, which has never been pulled off before. I'm the original. I got a new look, and I think this is probably the best one going. This is the best one going, man. This is what we call the lampshade. We ain't calling it the lampshade, boy. We're calling it the lampshade man. Because I'm a real man with a plan. And I cannot even see where I'm looking right now. Oh, my God. There we go. And you know what? I'm sure some people will say, do I look like some kind of Sub-Zero or Scorpion from Mortal Kombat with Raiden's hat above my head? So what? Does it really matter? It does not matter. It's all about the style and execution, and mine is a flawless fatality. Yeah. Amazing. It's just perfect, isn't it? So I got a nice little pretty hat collection to be showing everyone back on my channel, on Rumble, at this time, etc., etc. Yeah, make sure to join along. You know, feel free to spam Walleye Rath's chat, because that's what it's all about. I won't even be surprised. I won't even be surprised if that fake imposter Mr. X out there is watching right now. Yeah, Mr. X, I know you're there, the fake one. I don't know what you're trying to pull off there with that fake mask and that fake hat. A real cheap imitation with no talent, with no class, with no flavors, unlike me, the spice maker. Yeah, you really gotta change things up. Yeah, just stop. It just ain't working. But it is working for me, because I'm the man with the plan, even if I do trip up at times. But that aside, it does not matter, because it's now for me to go, and I'll see you some other time. That's it.
So anyway, aside from all of that, speaking of Betty Haywood, Miss B, wherever she is, I think she might be in the fields picking some peaches or apples or pears, depending which route she's going down. But, you know, there's a backstory, right? And I do have a surprise for everyone right now, on top of everything else we've talked about tonight. So, you've heard recently Dale has got new Crocs, owl Crocs. Now, Betty Haywood always likes to be in the spot, the highest point in fashion. Thing is, Betty Haywood felt a little bit jealous that Dale had something better than her, right? Okay, Betty was the one to get the owl bag and the butterfly one, but I think Dale upped his game, his fashion sense. Besides his special hard hat, his toolkit, he now has owl Crocs and some yellow socks, which actually give the day what day it is, so Dale doesn't forget. So Betty, being a jealous, petty Betty Boo, decided to, up her game. So she got some Crocs of her own. But the thing is, with Betty Hayward does not have simple Crocs. She's got Crocs with a heel. Yeah, you thought it wasn't possible? Well, newsflash, it is. And Robbie, in the background, take notes with your banana or whatever. And Tainted Ink, maybe make some notes as well because of the aesthetic design. So the reality is, when it comes to Betty Hayward and shoe sizes, it's got to be the perfect fit, because if not, it'll turn into a Disney story about Cinderella, and if Jim Terry's got anything to do with it, it's going on Disney Plus pay-per-view locked behind a paywall. Great. That's what we don't want. We all want to be able to watch Cinderella free of charge, right? So another person came in to deliver the heeled Crocs, and it's no other than the Dollar Tree store ambassador, 28 Alice, with her 28 running shoes days later. 28 Alice with her trainers well worn 28 weeks later, running from the zombie apocalypse and reaching Betty Hayward's personal palace to deliver some pretty sparkly Croc heels. And as you can see here, on one's knee, handing them out. It's Croc time, and they should fit. And from the looks of it, they do. As you can see, Betty Hayward leaning on over to see how they appear upon her. She seems satisfied and happy with the results. Now, 28 Alice, her face doesn't change that much because she's in focus mode 24/7, just like how the headset is glued on, which gives Dale a run for his money because, who wears their headphones the longest? We can even do a poll right now, a mini one. The mini poll can be, who wears the headphones the longest? Is it Dale? Is it Alice? Make sure to vote. One way to find out would be if you took the headphones off the individuals and check if there's an indentation in the side of the head, then they've worn it 24/7, okay? Now, I think Miss T has upgraded in a more high-tech way. She's got like a secret earpiece spy part attached to her ear. Very high levels that, wow. Just make sure you don't fall into the ocean. We don't want any electrical shocks. No. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, in this case, this scenario, it was a happy ending, but not like Matt Lingo's happy ending. No. But Betty Hayward, I think, pleased with the Crocs. They fit. Gives her a bit of extra height as well, so she can tower over the likes of Graham and Dale on top of each other. Not quite like that, but on top like a shed. Yeah. Betty Hayward is a walking, living giant right now. Wow. I hope you're happy, Betty Hayward, with your new shoes. What else do you need? What other clothing and accessories do you want? Well, the only way to find out is if you list them down below or wherever, okay? And then we go from there, okay? If you do have any questions, of course, about the case of Dylan Rounds or what just happened before, make sure to leave it down below in the comments, right? Hopefully most people enjoyed this video in some way or another. Hopefully people were able to listen and follow along, and that there was a level of focus at the start because it was most definitely needed, right? And yeah, I guess we'll just see what happens next time. As you know, I did drop in the few little hints of predictions, if any of you picked up on that. It'll be interesting to see what happens next, of course. You never know, there could be twists and turns. But I think for now, we'll just leave it there. And yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. For now, goodbye and good night.